Morning. Hi. We
Hi.
are with legend Pandit Sadanand NAIMPALLI. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, where you started your career. At what age you have actually started your career?
Well, I was 10 years, around 10 years.
Okay.
I don't know exact age, but I'll tell you how it started. I was right from my childhood rhythm oriented.
Okay.
Even in my younger days, my parents and relatives tell me that I used to utter gibberish, but in rhythm.
Acha, acha.
And then I got interested in film music. I used to do this kind of sound. I didn't know how to play anything. But once when we were all coming together in Talmakiwadi grounds to play, all my friends, while we were playing cricket, a friend of mine, Ramesh Trasi, Avinash's younger brother, he batted, and then after that he wanted to leave. So, but it's an unwritten rule in cricket that if you bat, you must also field.
Correct.
We told him, no, you can't do this. This is not fair. But then he said, nah, tabla class I have to go for my tabla class.
Okay.
So that pricked my ears. I said, what tabla class? Where is it? He said, it's in Sonawala. I said, can I come with you? I asked him. Oh yes, he said, okay, come.
Oh, acha.
That's how I first
So
went.
it started like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
first
acha.
I went to my Guruji's house like that.
Yeah. So you can say he is not your mentor. Who is your mentor actually?
My mentor is, of course, Pandit Taranatji,
Acha, acha.
H. Taranath Ramarao.
Yeah.
Ramesh was purely incidental in taking me to him.
Okay.
Yeah. So I learnt most of my tabla from Pandit Taranatji
Okay.
for at least say 6.5 years, and I used to go to my tabla class every day.
Okay.
Every day in this evening, I used to come home from school, dump my bag, have a cup of coffee and run. And then we would sit, me and others, Mohan and Omkar and others.
Okay.
And then for 3 to 4 hours, my Guruji used to sit there with the harmonium on his lap, a small one, and play the Nagma or Lehra for us to play with him. This was actually all the riyaz that I did in my younger days.
Okay.
But it was enough because it was 3 to 4 hours. If I left for his house at around 4:30, I would come back at around 8:30.
Okay.
I didn't worry so much about my homework. That would follow later on. So this continued for 6 years. And in fact, he would have loved to have me on Sundays also, Sunday morning. But then my parents, my mother told me, "Thode puni rest diya de."
Yeah, correct.
Well, so give him some rest at least, after all, this is his full-time profession. So Sunday morning, Sunday evenings, we were not going. But otherwise, 6 days in a week, regularly at 4:30, I used to be there till about 8:15, and then return home.
I remember Tarma, a very sweet person.
Absolutely.
And if you know something more about him, you can definitely tell us, because most of the audience may not know,
Yes.
only they have heard Pandit Taranath Maham.
Yes.
But rest of the things perhaps they may not be knowing.
Yeah.
So I think it will be better if you can
I will.
extend something more.
Actually, in the beginning, you referred to a term legend.
Yeah.
But I think I'm the wrong person to be addressed as a legend. It should be my guru, Pandit Taranath.
Yeah, that I know. Yeah.
He was a true legend.
Correct.
The number of students that he has trained,
Correct.
just like his children.
Family.
Yeah, children. And that is really incredible, And even Abdul Halim Jafar Khan, whenever he used to refer to him, he used to say, "Dunya mein sabse best guru."
Uh-huh.
He had that kind of a reputation for training the students like that.
Yeah.
And then once when Mohan Balwalli and myself, we were a team, Jugalbandi team. When we played at a concert in celebration of Pandit Ravi Shankar's 37th birthday, he was so impressed. He said, "ऐसा मैंने किसी को training दिया हुआ देखा नहीं आपने."
अच्छा, अच्छा.
Then Guruji had to remind him, मेरे भांजे भी ऐसे बजाते थे, Pandit Ravi Bellare and Shashi
Correct.
Bellare.
Right.
हाँ हाँ वो उनका तो मालूम है बिकॉज शशि यूज्ड टू प्ले विथ रविशंकर,
करेक्ट,
उनका तो मालूम है, लेकिन इतने छोटे बच्चे अभी वी वर barely 11 years old that time.
राइट,
सो इतने छोटे बच्चे आपने इतना ट्रेन किया है, लयकारी और हाथ इतना तैयार है. एंड ही सेड देयर इज वन मोर पर्सन, उनका नाम है ज्ञान प्रकाश घोष, उन्होंने भी ऐसे ही काफ़ी शिष्य तैयार किए हैं. So my Guruji was a legend. So, and you know, he began as a rich businessman. You know, they had a business in exporting tobacco to other countries.
Okay, okay.
And of course also selling in India. So that was a very roaring business, and my father knew Taranaji even in days earlier than me.
Okay.
Because my father had a tailoring shop.
Bright Star.
Yeah, Bright Star on Lamington Road.
Yeah, correct.
And Guruji used to come there to get his kurtas and all that stitched. And also they were part of a dramatic team
Correct.
where my father used to enact female roles.
Okay.
And Taranaji was the only accompanist for their songs and all that.
Okay.
So they were quite well associated. So it was more of a family relationship later on, but I came to know him when I was 10 years old, as I told you.
Yeah.
But I still remember the affectionate way that he used to handle us, all of us. And it is something that I don't think any guru can do that.
So it was one family sort of thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
So other than tabla, you were also interested in any other instrument also, or only
No,
you
no.
concentrate only on tabla?
Yes, tabla took my
Major.
fancy, and then it was only tabla.
Acha, acha.
Later on in life, I learnt pakhavaj from my guru, Pandit Taranaji.
Acha, acha. Okay, okay. And did you get support from your parents and your friends and college mates and
Yes.
all these people, or from schoolmates basically?
Yeah, no, actually, schoolmates and all, they come much later. That means not that important, but my parents encouraged me right from the beginning. And my mother especially, she was the one who
Acha,
was
she encouraged.
principal in my furthering my tabla
Okay, okay.
education.
Yeah, correct. Acha, can you tell us something like your President's Gold Medal which you won?
Yes. As I told you, I learnt tabla from Taranaji for at least six years or so.
Okay.
And thereafter, that was from, say I started in 53
Yeah.
and then up to 59, 60.
Okay.
But thereafter it was sort of irregular because I was in my higher school level, so
Okay.
studies and all that was a bit too much of a problem. So
Okay.
I stopped going regularly, but I used to go continuously. And then this happened in 1963,
Okay.
the Akashvani Sangeet competition, where Guruji told me to enroll, and I did. And then there,
This was in All India Radio at Queen's Road?
yeah, it was on Queen's Road at that point of time.
Correct.
And Dinkar Rao, a member,
Correct.
DML,
Correct.
he was the assistant station director there.
Okay, okay.
So at that point of time, my first recording was held in the studios in Bombay.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
I was placed first there, and another student of Ustad Amir Hussain Khan.
Okay.
Two of us were sent to Delhi
Okay.
for the final round. Those days, the final used to be a live affair,
Okay.
and we had to play in front of an audience, and the jury, which used to be containing 12 major artists, senior artists all over India,
Okay.
they used to be seated in another room and listen to it via the sound system.
Okay.
So that was how it was held, and there I got the first prize.
Arey Baap, fantastic.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. And then when I returned home after the function, the same night I had to fly back, or rather go back by train to Delhi again
Okay.
for the Inter-University Youth Festival.
Okay.
Because I had also stood first in the intercollegiate competitions.
So hectic trip.
Yeah,
Very hectic.
yeah, that was one of the most memorable years in my life.
Acha.
And once I was in Delhi, I was again placed first in that, and then they selected me to be a part of a inter-student university delegation
Acha, sir.
to Middle East and Europe.
Yeah. I think you were hardly that time 17, 18
Yeah,
years old.
16 and a half or
Yeah,
17.
correct. Yeah, correct.
And people were advising my parents, don't send him, he's too young.
Yeah, yeah. But you have got any collection of photographs or videos of, for that matter? You have anything?
No, those
which
days videos were
not
out of the question.
out
Yeah.
of question. But
I
the
have
photographs
some,
must be.
I
in
have
that
some
time.
photographs. And so actually for my preliminary round in Bombay for the Akashvani competition, the judges were Ustad Amir Hussain Khan
Okay.
and Pandit Pandarinath Nageshkar.
Okay.
So when Ustad Amir Hussain Khan, when he was going towards the studio where he would sit, when he saw me, he was telling Nageshkar sahab, "अरे ये बच्चा है तो फिर और किसी का सुनना मत."
Good one, good one.
Yeah.
Correct. Very nice.
So that's a very wonderful memory that I have of those days.
You must have traveled extensively, like foreign countries and all. Which are the foreign countries you have traveled? And
As I told you right in the beginning, my first travel abroad was, first we traveled to Beirut, that is
Beirut,
capital of
okay.
Lebanon.
Okay.
From there we flew to Rome, and then from Rome we started the European leg. You know, Paris, then Amsterdam, London,
Okay.
then Bonn, Berlin, Switzerland.
So that was a trip for how long?
It was for a little over 2 months.
2 months you
Yeah.
were away.
And in that, the last leg, which was in May something, the last few days, Jawaharlal Nehru expired.
Over that time, acha, acha.
So our one program was cancelled. Yeah, and we were all in mourning.
Acha, acha.
So they thought, you know, these people are not in a frame of mind to have a program.
Program, correct.
So they cancelled the whole show. We had it on another day.
Okay.
But it was fun, you know. That time we didn't know that this could also earn us money.
Correct.
We just went for the heck of it.
Yeah, correct.
Program
Interest,
means,
only
yeah.
interest, yeah.
Program means
Yeah.
ekpayarman
Tashi. And along with you, any other artists, your colleagues or?
Yes, it was a troupe
were-
of 6 artists. There were 3 dancers because
Okay.
it music and dance.
Okay.
You know, foreigners are more enamored or, you know, captivated by seeing dance because
Okay.
it has, you know, gestures, it has all dolled up girls.
Okay.
Whereas tabla means once we sit,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just play and then they have to go by
Yeah.
the music.
Correct.
So that tour was comprising of 3 musicians, myself, 1 sitar player, 1 vocalist,
Okay.
and then 3 dancers, 1 Kathak dancer, 1 Bharatnatyam dancer, and 1 Kathakali dancer.
Okay. So you used to have the program for almost 1.5 hours to 2 hours?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. that-
And it was mainly organized by student community in those countries.
Okay.
It was sponsored by UNESCO.
Oh, UNESCO has
Yeah.
sponsored it. Okay. Big,
UNESCO in collaboration with Ministry of Education in India.
Yeah. Yeah. We know that you are a pioneer in writing. You got great hand. You know, the thing is that you always write so many things. You know, you all written many books also.
Actually,
so, in that regard, can you elaborate something on, especially on writing?
Yeah. Well, I had a sort of liking for languages. Mainly, my education was in English.
Oh, correct.
So I had developed, you know, a way of, you know, thinking also in English.
Okay.
And if I wanted to talk in Konkani, first I would frame it in English and
Okay,
then talk
okay.
in. Even today, I can't talk offhand in any language, you know.
Okay. Okay.
You know, while I speak, at least 2 or 3 English words will come in.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
So English language was my strong point.
Mm.
So I used to do good essays and all that in my school days.
Mm.
But when I started learning tabla, my guru did not allow me to write down any compositions he taught.
Okay, okay.
He said, if you write down, then you become complacent. And asna, barai lasna, it's there, so why worry? So you tend to forget that. He would make me play, and then as he was teaching, I used to try to catch up. It came to such an extent that he recited a bowl once, and I could pick up and play second time along with him.
Okay.
And he used to call me Ek Pati.
Okay.
So what happened is, till I started taking up tabla again the second time after a gap of about 20-25 years,
Okay.
I didn't have anything written down.
Okay.
So when I started playing tabla again, I took my Guruji's blessings and started. I sat down to play and I found that I can't sit and play for more than 5 minutes at a stretch. One thing, I was out of practice, and secondly, that train of thoughts was not there, because you have to think also as you play. Extempore, it comes.
Right.
Yeah, that was absent. So that is when my Guruji told me, you start teaching. So when I started teaching, I could, as I taught, I could recollect the way I taught and teach the same way.
Okay.
Then what I did was, I thought I must write these things down.
Right.
And when I started writing, it developed into a big pile of sheets. Then I thought, why not, write a book in which you can. That's my first book. That is the Theory and Practice of Tabla.
That was the first book.
Yeah, and that was in 2006.
Okay.
2006, and then it became so popular that within about 4 years, Popular Prakashan had to print 6 editions.
Okay. Oh, very good.
That was a sort of bestseller in this genre.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Correct.
That was the book I had, thought of making it compatible with students who have trained for about 4 or 5 years from beginners level. So it was for that level only. Then I thought I should write a book for more advanced students.
Okay.
A lot of things that Guruji had taught us. And then came the second book in 2009.
Okay.
And that is entitled Tabla for Advanced Students.
Okay.
That also is doing quite well. But what happens is, the first one being used by beginners is selling more. Whereas for advanced students, there aren't many students of that level.
Correct.
But still it is doing well. It is at least 3rd or 4th edition has come up.
Okay.
Then I went into a sort of hibernation. I didn't do any more writing work.
Okay.
I was more engaged in teaching
Okay.
and also performing. But then 2 years ago, I thought I should write a book on a specialized topic.
Okay.
And in tabla, we have what are called guts. Guts are special compositions,
Okay.
and they have a certain characteristic. They are based on natural phenomena, or like sounds of different instruments, or based on animals,
Okay.
like this.
Okay.
So I thought I should write a book on that, and I set about doing it. But then as I was writing, it took more time, because maybe I couldn't devote more time.
Something unique.
Yeah. So then now it is ready, and it will be released on 20th November.
Okay, this year.
Yeah, we'll have a function on 20th November, which is my 75th birthday.
Oh, 20th November is this.
Yeah. So on that day, we will have that book release function of that book. And that book I have made 2 versions. One is English and the other is Hindi.
Okay.
Because after my 2 books were released, I used to get a lot of letters from North saying that English is something they find difficult to read, and So they said, why don't you translate your books into English? But translation means again finding somebody who was not only good in the language of Hindi,
Right.
but also knew how to read these bowls and put it in that
Correct,
language.
correct.
So that I couldn't do. But this new book, as I was writing, I also wrote in Devanagari.
Okay.
Yeah, so and then I got the English, what you call the theoretical part translated into Hindi by a Guru Bandhu of mine. His name is Pandit Balkrishna Iyer.
Okay.
He is very well versed in Hindi.
Yeah.
So he has done the translation work. So these two books will be released on 20th November.
Okay. So totally you'll have 4 books.
Yeah, 4 books.
Four
Yes.
books.
But
You
besides
plan
this,
to write some more now?
no, I don't think so, because I can't take the tension.
Okay.
And it keeps building up. Then my family complains that you are not attentive.
Yeah.
You are in your own world. You're this, you're that. So I won't write any books. But besides the books, I have written a lot of articles. You must have read them in KSA.
Yeah. Correct. It used to come in a series.
Yeah.
Used to come. Correct. So how was the response from all your students? What was the response from people, those who have gone through all these books and all? What was the feedback or something like that? If you can elaborate.
Well, my students have not responded to the book as such,
Achha.
because I teach them whatever is
Correct.
or more than that,
Correct.
in live sessions.
Correct.
But they have, for their reference, they have copies of those books.
Okay, that is minimum. And officially, who released them, and is it to self pictures and some videos clips are there of these books
Yes.
and all? These
No,
are there?
video clips I don't know.
Achha.
Videos were taken,
Because
but
this has happened only in 2021, no? So that's why I thought
no.
I'll ask for a video clip if it is there. I don't know.
There are photographs.
Photographs are there.
For the first book, the foreword was written by Ustad Zakir Hussain.
Okay.
And for the second book, the foreword by Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma.
Okay.
And now for this book, the foreword is written by Pandit Swapan Chowdhury.
Okay.
So they are all top class musicians. Yeah. For the first this thing, we had our Ustad Abdul Halim Jafar Khan had come.
Correct.
He then Pandit SCR Bhatt, Pandit KG Ginde.
Correct. All, yeah.
Yes, all stalwart musicians. They were there for the release function. And second book also was released by Pandit Ustad Abdul Halim Jafar Khan, then Pandit Arvind Parikh,
Okay.
Pandit Dinkar Kaikini. They were all there. So it was mainly released at the hands of eminent musicians.
You had a chance to play with Pandit Chidanand Nagarkar?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
But I would have loved to, because his style of singing is something I would have, gelled very well.
Yeah, correct. Okay. How is the response from your family? What was their feedback and how they used to adjust with you? And because of your studies was one part and the music was one part.
Yeah.
So they also must have supported you in such a way that you could get good mileage out of it.
Yes. See, fortunately for me, I was good in studies.
Correct.
And once I listened to the teacher teaching a topic, I didn't have to come home and then do this and do that.
Yeah.
It remained in my mind. So after my tabla class, when I used to return home, there was hardly study work from me, only executing whatever homeworks were given.
Correct.
So that being the case, my performances in school were very good.
Very good.
And I used to maintain the first rank in the class.
Okay.
So my parents had no complaints. They would have if I had not done well in school.
You have finally done your metallurgy engineering. Yeah.
Yes.
That is from Pune University?
Pune, yes.
Okay.
College of Engineering, Pune.
Pune University.
So there again, after my SSC, because I was very good in mathematics and physics, chemistry.
Correct.
My future was planned by my parents.
Okay.
They said, you are doing engineering. And at that point of time, I didn't have any say, because I didn't know what it was, what was. So I was, at that point of time, we had what is called intermediate science.
Okay.
And then degree courses.
Correct.
So I joined science faculty in Jai Hind College.
Okay.
I did my inter science. Again there I was first class, and I was automatically selected for engineering. And because metallurgy was a subject offered only by Pune Engineering College,
Okay.
so I had to go to Pune.
Correct.
because I couldn't apply for IIT because after first year I had to go abroad for the students delegation I told you.
Correct.
So that happened in May, during which IIT exams are held. So my second choice was Engineering College, Pune.
Correct.
So there I did this metallurgy course.
So that was the course for how many years in Pune?
4 years.
4 years
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
But at that point of time, engineering, is a full-time course.
Correct.
You need to make lot of submissions, this drawing work and then this work and that work, and studies of course. So tabla was sidelined.
Okay.
So from actually joining the engineering college was for me one of the biggest drawbacks in my career.
Correct.
And then after 4 years, after I came back, then I had something else in my mind. Now I'm an engineer.
Yeah, correct.
I must do this, I must do that. So I started applying for jobs, then started working. Then I started my own unit, a foundry.
Okay.
So in this entire process, I lost more than 20 years of tabla.
Okay.
I gave up my tabla in the year 66 when I went to Pune Engineering College, and then 65, 66. And then I took it up in the year 82.
Oh.
Sorry, 88.
Oh, almost 22 years.
Yeah, 88 I took it up again.
Okay.
So people ask me, "Arey, you have done engineering, why did you give up?" I said, unfortunately I did engineering.
Okay. Okay.
I would have loved not to be an engineer
Correct.
and to be a full-time musician, but that is something I don't know whether my parents would have liked me to follow.
Correct.
Because in those days, being a musician was not really welcome,
Correct.
because musicians, they thought, didn't do really well,
Yeah, correct.
And it's a matter of fact. In fact, my Guruji is an example.
Correct.
We know how he lived and how
Correct.
he had to depend on school, on the fees paid by students.
Correct.
And when some students could not pay or were not able to pay, he wouldn't even remind them.
We also know that you were very studious.
No, that is something I don't know where you learned from. I was
don't
not
know.
studious.
I always thought that you were very studious.
I was not studious, but I was not seen in the Talmakawadi gang because most of my time in the evening was at Tarmam's house, learning tabla.
I think perhaps people might have thought, you must be sitting at home. That's
Actually, I miss those days, my days of playing with my friends.
You have grown so many countless Disown disciples. So you can name some of them, those who are doing very well in the life and they are doing good. Like, some of them you can tell us.
I have taught lot of students.
Yeah, correct.
And most of them, in their own way, they are doing well.
Correct.
But unfortunately, none of them has taken it up as a profession.
Okay.
That is a sad part. I would have loved at least 2 or 3 of them, but that has not happened.
Okay.
But well, they have their own, points where they have decided not to pursue. That is up to them.
Correct.
But still, they are coming here, meeting me, learning from me. Even after.
So they are in touch with you.
Yeah, they are after 35 years also. There are students who come to learn.
Okay.
One
so
of
the
them
senior
is,
most can be of
one of
what
them
age?
is Hemant. Yes.
Yeah, what age senior most can?
Senior most, I think, is Jayesh. Nera? Yeah, Jayesh is around now 45.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Correct. Do you regret for not going for an engineering field to go with?
I regret for going for the engineering field.
Okay.
I wouldn't have lost 20 odd years.
Yeah, correct.
But having done engineering, I tried to pursue it to the best of my ability. Correct. But I was not cut out for that line. I had an artist's makeup,
Yeah. Do you encourage all your young students and give them this thing, some compliments or some encouragement? You do that any competitions you keep or something like that?
Yes, I asked them to enroll for different competitions, and at least once in a year we used to have, not now because of the pandemic, but before that, once a year we used to have a big Guru Purnima function.
Okay.
Where all the students would perform to their ability, you know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, more like a sort of an offering to their guru, just to see how much development we have made in this past 1 year.
I think mostly you used to have it in KSC Anandashram Mall. No?
Not, yeah, most of the times there.
Yeah, correct.
Then at Khar Anand
Car
Ashram,
also, correct.
or in Saraswat Colony Hall.
Saraswat Colony
yes,
Hall.
yes.
Correct, correct. So you have spread over all students everywhere, ne?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Other than tabla, you have acted in dramas or films. You were interested in dramas, films, and
Yes.
anything.
As a small boy, I used to act in Talmakwadi
dramas and all.
directed by Mr. Krishna Karwar.
Acha.
Yeah. So I have acted in a couple of them, but then once I joined the tabla class, there was nothing else I did. The attention was totally focused on tabla.
So your primary classes were in Balakrunda Education School? No.
Yes, I did my first standard or Paili Iyatta from Talmakwadi,
Acha.
and then I joined St. Teresa's High School,
Okay.
second standard onwards.
Okay. Because I remember Sunil Gavaskar was also in the same school. I don't know, he was maybe junior to you, maybe.
He maybe a junior.
1 or 2 years junior.
Yes.
Maybe. Correct.
Yeah. So I don't remember Sunil Gavaskar.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct.
He may have been in the Bigri when
Correct. Yeah. I remember Arun Sashital and all, used to have a group of your age, and they used to act in dramas.
Yes.
And there was good encouragement from Karwar Mam, Gopal Dada,
Yes.
and all these people. They used to
From
encourage children
KSA,
like anything.
Canara Saraswat
Canara
Association.
Saraswat pioneers.
Actually, I would like to give a part of the credit for my being what I am to Canara Saraswat Association.
Correct.
As a young tabla player, they gave me lot of opportunities.
Correct.
Any bhajan singer would come, they would come and call me. Any
Correct.
kirtan, even I used to accompany at the Dutt Mandir.
Bhajan Sangh.
Yeah.
Bhajan Sangh.
Any small function, Sadanand,
Yeah, correct.
used to. But these were all openings which gave me experience
Exactly, right.
to learn how to accompany.
Exactly.
So I owe them a debt of gratitude for
Correct.
the encouragement they have given me.
So how many hours you do the riyaz otherwise do you still continue to do the riyaz now also?
Actually, as I told you, my formative periods, I used to play for 3 hours at a stretch at my Guruji's house.
Okay.
That was the most what you call rigorous riyaz that I have done.
Okay.
Thereafter I gave up tabla, and then after I started playing tabla again, I couldn't play for some time, I had to develop the stamina.
Yeah, correct.
And also the trend of thoughts to play a solo.
Yeah, correct.
So that took some time, but once I was established as a tabla player, once I was in that process of developing, I filled up my form for Akashvani auditions.
Okay.
Which actually, when I had won the Akashvani competitions, they had given me 3 programs to be broadcast.
Okay.
And I had what they used to call C grade.
Okay.
That means the junior most grade. And based on that, they would have promoted me.
Correct.
But then I didn't do anything. I just played 1 or 2 concerts in that. I didn't even fulfill that. And I remember after my first Akashvani broadcast, after the recording was done, DML, he came to the studio room and he escorted me to his room, office, and then he gave me tea and all that. He said, "You played very well." Yeah, but those days I was not really aware that what I was doing, it's not that everybody can do it. I used to think, if I can do it, why not anybody else? I didn't realize that special ability I had, many people didn't have.
Correct. Exactly.
That's why I didn't take it up seriously at all.
Okay.
So then, as I told you, we were on Riyaz.
Correct.
Once I started this as a profession, I was also doing teaching.
Correct.
So I really I couldn't devote much time towards my Riyaz. But I found that my Riyaz for 1 hour a day was enough to
Correct.
see me through whatever I wanted to do.
To keep in touch.
Yes.
Correct. But now also you do this Riyaz now?
Yes, till the start of the pandemic, every day I used to do.
Achha, for how many hours or
Same, 1 hour a day.
1 hour.
1 hour.
1 hour at least you used to.
At least, yes. That I used to do.
Correct. That keeps you going.
Yes.
Correct. And you also must be feeling fresh too when you complete your
Yes,
Riyaz.
yes.
You feel to
Yeah.
do more and more.
You don't feel tired
tired
after the
correct,
Riyaz,
correct.
yes.
Correct.
You feel you can do more,
Exactly.
but there are other things have to be attended to.
Exactly right. And what about your family? How big is your family as such? Means at home and
Yeah.
if she will
Well,
be able to tell.
my immediate family at home is my wife Aruna,
Correct. Correct.
who's been a great support to me.
Okay.
You know, when I started tabla, you won't believe my earnings was zero.
Achha.
You know, one day I was earning in thousands
Okay.
as a businessman in foundry,
Correct.
and once I gave up everything, next day my income was zero,
Achha.
and I had to start from that level.
Okay.
At that point of time, she supported me.
Exactly.
She used to work as a research assistant in Johnson and Johnson.
Okay.
She is a qualified biochemist. She has done her MSc in
Okay.
biochemistry.
Used to be at Forget Street at that Johnson and Johnson, Forget Hill.
No, I moved there only in the latter part of my career.
Okay.
I was in the laboratory in Mulund.
Okay. You are in Mulund. Achha.
Yeah.
You got a
And then
beautiful campus there.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Mulund
garden.
is our original.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And then from there, I moved to, as a company expanded, you know, I moved to Andheri,
Okay.
Sahar. Not Sakinaka, it is not Sahar. Safedpur.
Okay.
We had a factory there, and I thought instead of traveling to Mulund, changing trains and all that, this would be a little closer, and we used to have a bus and all that. So
Okay.
it was like. But after that, after a certain point of time, in fact, around the same time that he was thinking of a change in career,
Very.
see, a company, gives you a lot of, give us a lot of facilities. Like they encouraged us to, enhance our own, to forward our own careers. They used to give us incentives. They used to pay. Okay, you do something, which will help you grow in your career. You know, so I was advised that why don't you do the management course? We used to have this something called diploma for service for working people, and which meant you have to attend classes in the evening. But I said, okay, 3-4 hours I think I can spend. And at that time at home I had my in-laws, and of course he was also there. So I went ahead with that. And then after I did my diploma there, there was an opportunity in the head office at Forget Street.
Oh, Forget Street.
In the marketing thing. And like I was asked, they had circulated an internal circular, and even otherwise in our factory we used to have annual presentations. You know, we had to make those who were heading their departments. So when I was heading my QA department, I had to make presentations. At that time, one of the VPs had commented, she makes a good marketing person. It was just a comment, I mean probably from the way I spoke or something. So that when the circular came, I thought, why not try it, you know, after with my diploma and all that. And I felt I was stagnating in the lab, frankly. There was nothing more, I mean, that we could achieve in that thing. So I talked to him about it, and that time he was also in the midst of this thing. So both of us decided that, okay, we go our ways. I mean, we felt that first of all we had our elders with us to support us, and then the children were okay, they were small, but they were going to school, and you know, something was on the career was sort of going on. So we have to take a chance, midlife, you can call it a midlife crisis. So we decided, and then I moved to marketing. And there I really worked. I mean, it was enjoyable, though it used to. And he also had started out on his music journey. But then what happened was, over a period of time, see, being in marketing, I had to go out on tours. I would be away from home for at least like 8 to 10 days in a month. I had to travel, which was a fact of life. We all knew about it. And I was doing it. But his career also started taking off. He started getting concerts where I had to travel outside and be away. And then our this thing started clashing. Our two started clashing. And for both of us being, and at that point, around the same time, my father-in-law passed away.
Oh.
So my mother-in-law used to be alone. And the children were, of course, they were like, she was in school and my son was in high school.
Correct.
But it meant that my mother-in-law would be alone with the two children at a point of time. And her frame of mind, you can imagine, she had just lost her husband. We just felt that it was getting too stressful for her. So around, we were just wondering how to manage it. Sometimes we would ask his aunt, she would come and stay, during those few days, help us out so that when we were away. But then it wasn't really fair to, call anybody. Or my parents also were there, but then they also couldn't come every time, because I had a grandmother who was bedridden. My mom had to look after her. So it wasn't really working out. So around that time, they had a circular for a voluntary retirement. So then I had to sit and we had to sit and talk. Like, this is the thing. So what should we take up? Should I take up that option? But then we were wondering who should, who has to now take a backseat. But then I thought, no. I mean, my aim is not, I don't think I would have become a VP at any point of time. I would have gone to a senior manager, senior manager level. I don't think I would have proceeded beyond that. But I knew that he was already on the journey. So I said, so I think it's I who should step back. And me stepping back would also help, in the family. That was the main issue. So I went in for voluntary retirement. My boss was not very happy. He said, "You're not happy. What is the problem?" They tried to, then they told me, "You are not yet 45. It is meant for 45 and above. So you have to work up till that." That also they put that condition. I had to work for about almost a year after that. But I said, when I turned 45, whether this thing is in this financial thing is an offer or not, I'm taking it up. My application is there.
Okay.
So that guarantee I was given by the HR department that yes, you can. So when at the day I turned 45, they did give me that.
I remember your sister Bharati was a great dancer, but she was just to means in good old days.
She was one of the best students of Parvati Kumar.
Correct.
Yeah. That same thing happened, apart from encouraging, my parents were not in a position to canvass for programs for her and but that is why she also gradually lost interest and but even to this day, lot of people remember.
Yeah, even I remember because I've seen her during our Diwali time and all, she used to give a performance. And I remember that.
Many people they come and ask me, Naimpalli, एक लहानपणी एक भारती नायमपल्ली म्हणून डान्सर होती ती तुमची काय नातेवाईक आहे का?
Bharati is made a big name. I remember because everyone used to remember her. It's excellent.
So as you were asking me about the family.
And your son also was a great harmonium player and also you give tabla and
So my elder son Samir, he is into music now full time. He is a specialist in the genre of music, that is ghazals, bhajans and all that. But he is taking training in classical music from Ajivasan, that is Suresh Wadkar's school. And he is doing well in that too. And he is also learning Carnatic music side by side from an institute founded by Shankar Mahadevan. So that is an online course and there too he is doing well. Now he is a multifaceted artist.
correct.
He sings, that's his first preference. He is a very good harmonium player.
Correct.
And also he has learnt a little bit of tabla from me.
And he also gives independent programs also. Means,
Independent, yes.
Ghazals.
Yes.
He is so good with ghazals.
Yes.
Because I have heard many programs of his.
Yeah.
In Wadi also he has performed.
Yes,
And very
yes.
various places I have heard him.
And he has accompanied me and also number of leading tabla players
Exactly.
on the Lehra.
Correct. Lehra.
Very
I
good
was
in
just,
live.
Remember that name, Lehra.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was expert on Lehra. He used to give
Yes.
Lehra so many
Yes, yes,
people. Not only, of course, he used to accompany you, but otherwise also he
Yes,
accompanied.
lot of people he has.
Lot of people he has done.
And my daughter, she is not an active musician, but she is interested in music.
Okay.
Yeah.
She also plays.
No, she is not an active musician.
Correct.
But what we need some what they call kanseins.
Conscience, yeah, correct.
So everybody can't be a tansen.
Correct,
So,
correct. That is that.
so she is one of them. But you see, music helps.
Yeah, correct.
Helps in what way? It relieves you of whatever you are doing
Correct.
for some time, so that you can return to that refreshed.
Correct, correct. So,
My-
what is your final advice to all the youngsters, those who are coming up? Generally, at what age do you start teaching them?
I prefer to teach students who are around seven and a half years.
7 only.
If lower than 7 people bring their children, I tell them to wait for some time.
Okay.
If he has a talent for rhythm, let him bang on drums, let him do whatever he
Correct,
wants. But try to see that that instinct is alive.
Achha.
He can play with film music or
Correct,
television,
correct. Exactly.
whatever. So once he's 7 years old, you bring him, because this is a sort of disciplined process.
Correct.
I want that he should be at least able to sit for half an hour
Right.
and learn tabla. He cannot run around and
Correct.
sing, dance and also learn
Yeah,
tabla.
correct.
It cannot be done. So that facility, a child of 3 or 4 is unable to.
Yeah, correct.
It's injustice to him.
Yes,
To make him sit in one place, Nara Karichi.
correct. There is no force actually.
Yeah.
The mainly concentration is your best advice to the all youngsters, those who are above 7, what you can give them the advice that.
Well, being a musician, I would prefer that all talented students take up music in one form or the other.
Correct.
Whether they become professional musicians, that is up to their future, what the future holds
Exactly,
for them. But I have found, and this was an advice I got when my Guruji was in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Once his wife met with a paralytic stroke, and she was completely paralyzed and she couldn't utter a word, just make noises. And so the physician attending to her, when she was in the not cardiac but intensive care unit,
ICU.
yeah, he called my Guruji. He said, "Mr. Rao, please come in. I want to show you something."
Okay.
Then he said, "You ask her to say something." Then he told her, my Guruji told her, "You remember we had gone to such and such a place. Can you tell us about it?" All she did was she couldn't say anything. But then he said, "Now, Mr. Rao, you tell her to sing a song from any of the old movies that you all have seen together."
Oh, achha.
Yeah. So he reminded her, we had seen this Sant Tukaram. You remember that song which you used to like? Do you remember that still? Then he said, "If you remember, please sing." And she sang that song.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And all the words were clear.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And then the doctor told him, "See, it's like this. The brain is divided into 2 parts, left lobe and the right lobe. What happens is, in such cases, the left brain gets the paralysis.
Okay.
Because the left brain is paralyzed, all the functions associated with the left brain, you are not able to perform. But the right brain is one which is used for creative activities or cultural activities. That's why all that data is stored there. So when you need that recall immediately, you can."
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is, when a student learns tabla, all the years before that and even after during that, his left brain is more active,
Okay.
whether it is studies or whether it is sports or whatever it is,
Yeah, correct.
physical activity. But with music or with art, with painting, even with reading, singing, these activities are controlled by the right brain.
Correct.
So because of that, the right brain gets more sort of, exercise, and it retains that. So
It is active.
also at the same time, during that time, the left brain gets a little bit of rest,
Correct.
and it can come back rejuvenated,
Yeah, correct.
Suppose after 2 hours or so of studies, intensive studies, you find that you are reading the same thing, you cannot understand what you are. Keep the book aside, listen to film music,
Correct.
try to sing something, read something,
Correct. So divert your mind.
Yeah, divert your mind, and after about half an hour, go
Yeah.
back to studies.
Right.
And this I found in most of my students, it has worked. And some of my students have become toppers in their.
Oh, wow, very good.
One student, Mr. Pushkar Bhuse, he was into engineering, but he was also very acutely interested in tabla.
Okay.
Even in his school final, he did his CBSE exam. He was very much involved in tabla.
Okay.
But at the same time, after tabla, he would go back to his studies. He got 95% marks in the final.
Achha.
And now he did his engineering, IT, and now he has gone to US
Okay.
to do his masters and PhD in IT
Yeah.
from University of California, San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah. There are others also who have. Jayesh, he's been so good.
Jayesh Rege.
Yes, Jayesh
correct.
Rege.
Correct.
Yeah, he has done his masters in commerce. But then his parents were not keen that he should take up tabla, so he had to go by their wishes.
Correct. Correct.
And then he joined service, but he's still active in
So
tabla.
he's still active, no?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
accompanies, I think, many.
Yeah, he gives
artists.
lot of programs.
Programs he gives,
Yeah.
I remember.
But you need a different approach for a thorough professional
Yeah, correct.
tabla player.
Correct. So he's not at the moment. He is not teaching anybody.
He may be teaching
He
some of
teaching.
his students.
Yeah, correct.
I don't know.
Yeah, correct.
He may be teaching at home, but
Achha.
he should find time.
Yeah, correct. That is there. Yeah.
As a full employee, full-time employee, he must be going out at 8 o'clock in the morning, returning at 8 o'clock in the
Yeah,
evening.
correct. Yeah.
And then he has 2 young small children to look after.
Yeah,
And then,
correct.
so I don't know, but still his tabla is there, tabla
Yeah.
practice is there.
Practice is there.
Yes.
Correct.
But I would endorse my plea to parents
Correct. That is the
to
main
let
one.
students decide what they want.
Exactly.
If somebody is good in music, let him go in for it. Because today, those old days are not there,
Correct. Correct.
If a musician, if he qualifies as a good musician, he will find, support from so many quarters.
Correct.
He'll be
So
able
there's
to.
a 10 to 5 working hours that has gone now. Only now everything who concentrates he means like
Yes,
that.
he'll be able to do
Correct,
very
you are
well
right.
as a musician.
Yeah, correct.
So I want parents to think in terms of allowing children to take up the profession they want,
Correct.
and leave the rest to
Correct.
fate.
Exactly. You're right. Absolutely. Great. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thanks a
welcome.
ton. Thanks
Yeah.
a ton. Thank you. Thank you.
हाँ sir. Okay. Ashok. This memento, this was given to me by my engineering college classmates.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And this was given when I accompanied Pandit Vijay Raghav. And these two wooden statues of Ganpati playing Pakavaj and Tabla were given by a company in Indore when they had invited me to teach session and then perform solo. Now here, this was made by one of my students, a girl, handmade here, this Krishna. These two Ganesh idols, one playing Pakavaj, one playing Tabla, were handmade by a student of mine, Shantanu Shukla.
Yes, it's a great.
Yeah. And that was given by Sharda Sangeet Vidyalaya. It's a very prominent music institution. These are other mementos. Here, this statue of Sharda was given in Bangalore by an institution called SASHTAL when I played a solo there. And these two were given by Swar Sadhana Samiti, another prominent institution in Bombay. One was for my solo, and the other was when they gave me the title of Swar Sadhana Ratna, for which the plaque is here down below. Now, this also is by Swar Sadhana Samiti. This was presented to me when I conducted a group to Germany and Serbia with a multi-instrument group comprising of Hindustani and Carnatic percussion instruments. Now this is the award, the first prize I got in Akashvani music competition in 1963. You can see the photograph, me here and Dr. Radhakrishnan who did the presentation. This is when I accompanied Ustad Bahauddin Khan, Dagar, Bean, yeah, for a society called Anam Prem. These two are from an institution, music institution in Delhi, when they awarded me the Sangeet Martand, no, Tal Martand, the title of Tal Martand. This is the certificate and this is the memento with that. This here is a golden rose given to me by Suresh Vadkar at Ajivasan. And this conch here, big one, was given by authorities in Mauritius when I went there on a trip to Mauritius. It was actually a table lamp. But then that thing got spoiled and then I had to. Now here is a written appreciation by a very famous Marathi poet, Sudhir Moghe. He has written something on the Guru for me when some of my students played in Pune. This is the statue of Savai Gandhar, the very famous Guru of Pandit Bhimsen Joshi. There is an organization which conducts his annual anniversary programs, and one concert where I played solo, this was given to me and I was honored. And this here is an award given by Shanmukhanand Sangeet Sabha, where I started tabla classes. I used to teach for a few years, and then it became too much for me and I handed it over to a student of mine, Milind Joshi. Now he is conducting there for the past 20 odd years. this was given, this Veena was given by Bharat Cultural Integration Unit at Vijayawada. They used to have Hindustani and Carnatic music programs. This was given for the Punyatithi program of Pandita Zareen Darwala, and this was given for the Punyatithi of, or Barsi as they call it, of Ustad Sheikh Daud Khan in Hyderabad. Yeah. Now this photograph is a memory of my visit to Sweden, taken in one of the concerts at, they call it the Pygmy Theatre. And this here is a calendar we made for the 101st birth anniversary of our Guruji. Now this is important. This gives the lineage right from the founder with all the ustads and pandits, and at the bottom is my name. Yeah.
सर एक फोटो का